Greetings, brethren. The other day, I was watching someone else's live stream, and they was covering this letter by Margaret Sanger to expose the dark past behind Planned Parenthood. So I'd like to actually share with you and make you aware of this letter to expose the dark past and origins of the founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger. For those who do not know about Margaret Sanger, she was she's a eugenicist. She believed in eugenics. Um, Her goal actually was um, to bring birth control and safe abortion to impoverished mothers, especially to the black community of the South. And she formed the American Birth Control League, which later formed the Planned Parenthood. Now, I'm not expert about Margaret Sanger, but I did read a few articles and portions of her writings. But I'm not going to try to become a expert because I think it's really a waste of time because I'm chasing rabbit holes when I read articles and they quotes from her writings, which she allegedly wrote, and actually they were slightly altered to make more credence to the arguments that she was a racist. But nevertheless, it's her quote, the unaltered quote from her writings, are still valid to the point that from the point of the base of eugenics, because eugenics weeds out the less desirable traits, and she's seen traits from different races undesirable. Thus, wants to they seeing them as a burden. So she would want them to weed those traits out. So, yeah, and also the works that they quote is not readily available. I mean, some of them are available digitally online, but a lot of them I cannot find because they're not on the real juicy ones that people often quote. So I just have to make do with this. So well, let's get to it. You can find this letter PDF form. I'll post the link. You can find this letter in PDF form on Smith College Libraries. You can see here it's fully documented, cited, of where it comes from, stuff like that. And I'll post a link so you can read it for yourself. So before I read it here, now I'm not going to really interpret it for you, either way, but I will make a comment of my theory. Now I want to inspire some critical thinking. I do not know her intent. That her intent was malicious in this letter. Now, I'm not trying to apologize for her. I'm saying that I do not know, but I believe, based on her other writings of eugenics and stuff, that I believe and think that she's racist because of her eugenic mindset. Because eugenics are inherently racist. But I do not know. And possibly I'll comment a possible interpretation. So, I want to share with you this this letter she written December 10th, 1939, to Dr. Gable. It's good to know that you are recovering. I also am stepping up and have felt much better the past week. Miss Dub was here for Thanksgiving, and I am more than delighted to learn that she was able to get $250 from the California Birth Control Organization plus $600 from the Federation. That's good that she is a go-getter and a live wire. Very tactful and charming as well. I think that my pick of her has been justified, even though she is a little higher priced than the ordinary. She has been working on the article to be written by Miriam DeFord and Mrs. Maynard Shapley. They were good enough to send me a rough draft for comments and suggestions, and the important suggestion that I made was not to include Mrs. Delp's actual name in the article because of the fact that her sister is married to one of the high spots in the farm security department, and if the enemy started to work on her name, they might make it difficult along the line. Otherwise, I think the article is good. As to my sending suggestions to the Federation, I think it is really unfair for me to do so. I am far away to have the personal contact and the different reactions, and it only holds up to any definite project to have the pros and cons battered about, which makes for more chaos and confusion. There's only one thing I would like to be in touch with, and that is the Negro Project of the South, so the Negro Project is getting birth control, gaining trust of the impoverished black communities of the South, and to provide them birth control and abortions. So basically, that's what the Negro Project is. Of the South, which, if the execution of the details remain in Mrs. Rose's hands, my suggestions will not be confusing because she knows that my mind knows the way my mind works. Miss Rose sent me a copy of your letter of December 5th, and I noticed that you doubt it worthwhile to employ a full-time Negro physician. It seems to me from my experience where I have been in North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas, that while the colored Negroes have great respect for white doctors, they can get close to their own members and more or less lay their cards on the table, which means their ignorant superstitions and doubts. They do not do this with the white people, and if we can train the Negro doctors at the clinic, he can go among them with enthusiasm, and with the knowledge which I believe will have far-reaching results among the colored people. His work and my option should be entirely with the Negro profession and the nurse, hospital, social workers, and well as the county's white doctors and assistants will depend upon this personality and training by us. Yes, I know I am just reading what is written here. Do not freak out because I'm saying Negro. Otherwise, I'm just reading what is written. Now, I'm just referring to that word. I'm not saying anything, so his work, in my opinion, should be entirely with the Negro profession and the nurse, hospital, social workers, as well as the county's white doctors. His success will depend on his personality and his training by us. The minister's work is also important and also should be trained, perhaps by the Federation, as to our ideals and the goal that we hope to reach. We do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population, and the minister is the man who can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious, so of their more rebellious members. I agree with you that Miss Rose has done a remarkable job in thinking through and planning the project, but she has worked on it for some time. As soon as I knew there was the possibility of getting any money, I put her at work drafting the plan for Mr. Lackner. She is excellent at just such a job. She hangs onto details, weaves and correlates them into the design. I shall never cease to have the utmost admiration and regard for her ability, and so far I have not seen anyone in the Federation who could take her place. I am constantly delighted at the thought that you are getting better, and now we must pray for Mrs. Time, who is seriously ill at the doctor's hospital in New York. My regards to your Sarah, and to yourself. Sincerely yours, Ms. Margaret Sanger. Now, at first glance, see. This quote, which is often quoted, we do not want word, right here, we do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population, and the minister is the man that can straighten out this idea if it ever occurs any of their more rebellious, that ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members. Now, I want to say there's one possibility. I'm not saying that this is true, that's their goal. One possibility is that they do not want to misconstrue their goal, that people will think they want to exterminate the Negro population. Let me see. There's only one thing I would like to be in touch with, that is the Negro Project of the South, which, if the execution of the details remain in Mrs. Rose's hands, so if the details remain in Mrs. Rose's hands, my suggestions will not be confusing. Will not be confusing if it lies with Mrs. Rose's hands. She knows the way my mind works. So if execution of the details lie within Mrs. Rose's direction, there should not be confusion, that people will think that our goal is to exterminate the Negro population. Now, that's what I, thought. We do not want word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. But considering that she is a eugenicist, and considering her other works, that the traits of these certain other races are undesirable, thus is a burden to the economics of society, thus has to be weeded out. Thus, these races are non-desirables. They're uneducated. They want to lessen the population because they're poor. For one, they're poor. Two, they're uneducated. They may be mentally ill. They do not want mentally ill, poor black people to pass on these traits. So based on this, I can think and believe she really means that is her goal, to exterminate this racist population. But possibility from the context, I want to inspire. I'm not apologizing for her. I want to inspire critical thinking that there's a possibility she means it in a positive way. That we do not want the idea that our goal be misconstrued. Uh, that we want to exterminate. That our goal is to exterminate the Negro population. But from her writings, she has a eugenics mindset, and that mindset is racist. Thus, she is racist. Now that's enough of this, and I have enough courage to actually just put this out. And I'm just informing. Hopefully YouTube don't think I'm being racist. I'm being informative. That's all my goal is. I find this strikingly shocking and disgusting and wicked. That based on her background, she's a eugenicist. She has that mindset that these traits, these races are undesirable. Thus, they're a burden and a pain to the economics and well-being of the country and society. So, anyways, because so anyways, there's these quotes here, and some are kind of slightly altered, and I can see I haven't found all the quotes. I've found her in the writings. They are slightly altered, some of them, but that doesn't negate the fact of what she says, and influenced by her eugenic background, that these people are undesirables. Okay? And it's just true. It's just, with all the laws, the racism in the United States, Jim Crow laws, miscegenation laws, the eugenics, this is just the kind of racism back in the day was in the United States, actually, with miscegenation laws, and actually these kind of eugenicists ran compulsory sterilization campaigns. They compel certain, so these people were identified as African American, Hispanic, Native American, Latino, which is South American, Puerto Rican, such people, compulsory sterilization campaigns. And see. So, eugenics sterilization of the African American community. Early proponents of the eugenics movement included not only influential white American, but also proponents of African American intellectuals, Lev Du Bois, Thomas Wyatt Turner, many academics at Tuskegee University, Howard University, Hampton University. However, unlike many white eugenicists, these black intellectuals believed the best African Americans were just as good as the best white Americans, and that talented tenth of all the races should mix. Indeed, Du Bois Dubois believed only fit blacks should procreate and to eradicate the racist heritage of moral iniquity. With the support of leaders like Du Bois, efforts were made in the 20th century to control the reproduction of the country's black population. One of the most visible initiatives was Margaret Sanger's 1939 proposal, the Negro Project. No, her argument was because of the poor poverty being burdened down, the mothers were burdened down with high birth rates. So she wanted safe birth control, safe abortions to lift them out of poverty. No. Why? I mean, Wikipedia and other articles, they covered up the truth. But I guess they missed something. I don't know. Maybe this is not true because it's in the open. But I don't know. It's hidden in here, actually. So I would say this would be true. Why is it under eugenics, sterilization, in the African American community? The reproduction of the country's black population, one of the most visible initiatives, was Margaret Sanger's 1939 proposal, Negro Project. The year Sanger, Florence Rose, her assistant, drafted a report on birth control in the Negro. In this report, they stated that African Americans were the group with the greatest economic and health and social problems. Now, Margaret Sanger, instead of actually solving the root of the problem, actually finding education, finding ways to educate, provide education and work. I mean, if they're in poverty, provide them ways to find find employment and education and health. But no, she thought the solution to the problem is to lessen the population. Thus, I don't know, lifting out poverty or something. That was her argument or something like that. Overwhelm mothers so they can actually go work and stuff like that. The project often sought to prominent African American leaders to spread knowledge regarding birth control and perceived positive effects it would have on the African American community, such as poverty and lack of education. Sanger particularly sought out black ministers from the South to serve as leaders in the project in the hope of countering any ideas the project was strategic attempt to eradicate the black population. However, despite Singer's best efforts, white medical scientists took control over the initiative, and with the Negro Project receiving praise from the white leaders and eugenicists, many of Singer's opponents, both during the creation of the project and years after, saw her work as an attempt to terminate African Americans. But anyways, so there's people on the message board, trying to put out information. See, there's quotes slightly altered that black people are human ways to be extinguished, and also listing particular race groups as the Slavs, Hebrews, Jews or Latinos, which is not in the quote, but nevertheless, this undesirable stock, is a burden on the economics and of America, and should be eliminated. Um, I wish I could find. I just thought to read a. So that was not exact quote that these people are human weeds, but the uneducated, the poor, are the human weeds to be eliminated, which is just the same difference. These traits aren't desirable. So this is a quote. Birth control does not mean contraception indiscriminately practiced. It means the release and cultivation of better elements in our society and gradual suppression and elimination, eventual extinction of defective stocks, those human weeds which threaten the blooming of the famous flowers of American civilization. And also, which a article which was published, probably not written by Margaret Sanger, but that's right here. Generally agreed, the lower forms of life must give place to the higher types, in which the pioneer of the civilization makes his way into the forest. He must of necessity destroy the man-killing animals living therein. Exterminating the wherefore is also waged against the savage members of the human race. Wherefore they oppose the establishment of conditions necessary for the development of more highly organized types. Of course, where improved by instruction and subsequent cooperation, it is possible the extreme annihilation need not to be practiced, but unless it can be shown that there is room enough on this earth for both savage and civilized, the savage must go. Oh. So it's right here. The extreme annihilation need not to be practiced, but by unless it can be shown, there is no room enough for earth for both savage and the civilized. The savage must go. So you see that. United States Congressional Series said, I don't know, some document, I guess, documented. See, yes, I read this one. Among our more than 100 million this is from Women and the New Race. So she's talking about the new race. Among our more than 100 million population of Negroes, Indians, Chinese, and other colored people to the number of 11 million, and there's also 14,500,000 of foreign birth, 50% of the native white strain. The slums of Europe dumped their submerged immigrants into America in the 1920 census will probably tell a story of even greater or more serious problem than they did last. Do these elements give promise of a better race? Are we doing anything generally constructive to overcome this situation? Trainload after trainload of children are coming in day and night. Nameless refugees arriving out of nowhere into here. Trainload after trainload. Many unwelcome, unwanted, unprepared for it, unknown, without baggage, without passports. She's writing of immigration, which they are not assimilated into human culture. Just state of facts. It's not really racist. She's just stating the overpopulation, the immense migration of peoples coming to America. And she does say, like I keep on saying, these traits are less desirable. The stock of these poor, uneducated peoples should be weeded out to make room for, to, to see, to, because of, to benefit the human race. These are the mentally ill that actually, defective, birth defectives, either uneducated just because they don't have education, or people that are mentally ill, but even people that are poor in status. But anyways, I just wanted to show you the letter, so you can do your own research. This quote right here is true, read from her Woman and New Race. That's true. In a word, natural law makes a female the expression and fear of racial efficiency. Birth control itself, often denounced a violation of natural law, is nothing more or less than the facilitation of a process weeding out unfit, preventing the birth of defects or those who will become defectives. I mean, the quotes just that I read, about the immigration problem. I mean, they are not mentally ill, but not education in the American sense. They're not assimilated. So they did have a problem, and with all races immigrated. Even they found out the Italians, in the 1920s. They picked up jobs that were only afforded to black people at the time. And that's what you get, the word WAP, work without papers. And there they were demeaned because of that, because they worked those jobs. But yeah. But other writings, she's a eugenicist. These stock, she often quotes pure white stock. This stock of defective traits, or what means, But anyways, I just wanted to show you the letter. Make your own decision. I gave you a possibility or interpretation, but based on her background, that she's a eugenicist, she means what she says and says what she means. I would place my best bet, not because my best bet. Why she says that? Because her background is eugenicist, and she has a mindset, the eugenicist mindset. And since she has that mindset, that makes her racist. That's my best bet. That's what I put my claim on as I see it now. If anybody knows different, then tell me. But that's my best bet. She's racist because of that mindset. They're inferior, less defective stock, less desirable traits, what have you. But I just wanted to let you guys be aware of this letter, and do your own research. So we'll see you next time. Thank you, and take care.